This video is going to go through how to find the rule for the nth term, but for quadratic sequences this time, rather than linear sequences. So linear sequences are where they go up or down by the same amount each time. If you start to work out what this one here is going up or down by, you can see the difference is 4 for that one. 4 to 12 is a difference of 8. Then we've got 12. And then we've got 16. So you can see it's going up by different amounts each time. So when that happens, we will know that it's going to be a quadratic sequence, not a linear sequence. So your next step is to work out what the second differences are. So by that I mean, what's the difference between 4 and 8? Well, to get from 4 to 8, it's a difference of 4. 8 to 12 is a difference of 4. 12 to 16 is a difference of 4. So you should get that your second differences then are the same. So what you then need to do, and you always do this step, you always then divide that second difference by 2. So we divide that by 2, which would give us 2 in this case. And that, once you've divided that by 2, you put that in front of n squared. So it would be 2n squared. Okay, so first step is to work out your first differences. Then we work out the second differences. We halve that and put it in front of the n squared. So now we're going to substitute in 1, 2 and 3, because what that's going to do is tell us if this was the nth term for our sequence, this is the sequence that we would get at the moment. So there's going to be something in a minute that we need to do afterwards. So if we substitute n equals 1 into here, you need to square it first and then times by 2. So 1 squared is 1, times by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4, times by 2 is 8. And 3 squared is 9, times by 2 is 18. So if this was the nth term for our sequence, this is the sequence that we'd get at the moment. Now we don't want this sequence, we want this sequence up here. So we need to say, well, how are we going to get from 2 to 0 and 8 to 4 and 18 to 12? So let's think about that. From 2 to 0, how would you get from 2 to 0? Well, you'd have to take away 2. To get from 8 to 4, how would we do that? We would have to take away 4. To get from 18 to 12, we would have to take away 6. And you can see it's forming a new pattern here, a new sequence. So once you've got to that sequence, we now just need to work out the nth term for that linear sequence. Now, if you don't know how to work out the nth term of a linear sequence, then you should be able to find that video on my channel, so the linear sequence video, and that will remind you how to do that. So this one here is going down in 2's, so I would put minus 2n, and then you've got to think, well, what would come here before the minus 2? Well, if I count back in 2's, this would have to be 0. So I could put plus 0 on the end, but that's not really going to make a difference. So we just put it all together now at the end. We had 2n squared, and we had minus 2n. So that would be my final answer. So 2n squared minus 2n. So I would do one more for you. So this one, again, we're going to look at the differences between them, and that will tell us whether it's going to be linear or quadratic. So 6 to 11 is a difference of 5. 11 to 18 is a difference of 7. 18 to 27 is a difference of 9. 27 to 38 is a difference of 11. So straight away I know it's not linear because it's not going up by the same amount each time, it's changing. So I need to work out second differences, which is 2, 2, 2. Divide this by 2 and put it in front of n squared. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, so you can either write 1n squared or you can just write n squared. So either of those would be fine. So now the next step, remember, is to put in the n equals 1, 2 and 3. So for this one, there's no number in front, so we don't, or if you're using this one, you're only going to times it by 1 afterwards. So we're going to square it and times by 1, or just square it. So 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. So after that we need to say, well, this is what we've got so far, but we don't want this one, we want 6, 11, 18. So how are we going to get that? Well, to get from 1 to 6, I would need to add 5. 4 to 11, I would need to add 7, and 9 to 18, I would have to add on 9. So here we have now a linear sequence that now I just need to work out the rule for the nth term. It's going up in 2's, so it would be 2n. And then what would come here before the 5? Well, that would have to be a 3, so it would be, and it's positive 3, so plus 3. So putting it all together, I've got n squared plus 2n plus 3, and that would be my final answer.